Yo, this is KaeDee,
And this is David.
and we are the K&D Exchange, where we exchange music, and as a result, we exchange ideas, bridging the gap between old and new, with all original music produced by. Enjoy. What up, what up, what up? We are back, the K&D Exchange, on our 26th exchange of the series. To those who've been keeping up with us, thank you very much for your continued support and for listening. We really appreciate it. For those who are new, we're a weekly music review show, but the premise is that we exchange music to each other every week and we alternate. So one week, David will give me an album that he's familiar with, but I've never heard before. And then the following week, it alternates. I'll give him something I'm very familiar with that he's never heard before. We are bridging the gap between two different perspectives and coming in to discuss music we probably would never usually have either's been on our list or never would have come up on our radar. And this is a way of bridging that gap for each other, coming in with two unique perspectives. Speaking of David, you are joined by my co-host, David. Myself, if I haven't introduced myself, I'm KaeDee, as you probably would have guessed. David, what's going on? What's new?
Oh man, nothing new at the moment, man. But we're out here. We're doing good.
We're doing good. Yep.
Everything's cool.
Everything's cushy. Cool. All right. So this week, what did we talk about last week? Murs. That's it.
Yeah.
Strange Journey into the Unimaginable, which
Boy.
I gave David to listen to. What an album, still to this day.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's
Absolutely
awesome.
Amazing. So if you have checked out that album, you haven't checked it out, regardless, whatever, either go listen to the album or go back and listen to our previous episode where we discussed that at length. We also can get a bit tangent filled, and on our last episode, we had taken a little break beforehand, so we had plenty of talk about that was not related, very loosely related to the album, but
well, inspired by the album.
Inspired by the album, yeah, which is a good thing. So go back and listen to that, or go back and listen to the album first and then listen to it, or listen to the discussion and then listen to the album, whichever way you like doing things. There's too much content out there anyway. There's too much out there, which it's completely understandable. Something I've started doing where I will watch sometimes a review of something from someone I trust, or listen to a discussion about it from someone I trust, before I put the time in to check something out, especially if it's artists I don't necessarily know about, but I've heard of, and I don't know if I want to commit my time to it. This week is an example of that, because I've heard of these artists that David gave me to listen to, but they're just on the list, the never-ending mental list, and you see them in the hip-hop sphere and you think, yeah, I'm okay, it's a cool name, they seem got a cool vibe, I'm going to check them out, cool album covers, I'm going to check them out. Then you just never do. But that's the beauty of the show. I kind of have to sit down and actually check them out, which is great. What album did you give me this week to listen to, David?
I gave you Dopp Hopp by the Doppelgangaz, and it was released in July 2017.
Jeez,
honestly, I cannot believe it's that old already, because I think I got it towards the end of 2017. Yeah, and so it's basically never come out of rotation. Again, another one, like the vibe of it is something I can't wait to get into.
How did you find out about it, or how did you end up listening to it?
I was on my music app and it random. I just typed in hip hop and they came up. It was it was really random, and I thought, well, it's kind of a weird album cover. Let me check it out. And I listened to the most popular track on there was Every Which Way, so I listened to that and I was like, yeah, it's all right. And then I listened to the whole album and I was like, wow, these guys are all right,
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way of putting it, because actually what really drew me into this album was the production.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's just really interesting. It's really good, but it's like it's not weird, like in a sense of like it's experimental or off-putting. Like if you're just looking for some good hip hop, but it's like you'll get that if you listen to this.
Yeah.
But there's something a bit different about the way the sounds that are used for like the drums, especially, and the different samples that are put in, or the different other sounds that are put in. Because I didn't come away from this thinking too much about the actual MCs themselves, about how kind of, these guys are such incredible MCs. I'm not saying they're bad MCs, but they did the job. They did it really well. And maybe I need to listen a bit more. But what really kind of I took away from it was the whole vibe of it based on the production. I loved the drum sounds. I loved the drum programming. I loved the some of the snare sounds and the little kind of, I don't know how to describe. You know, when we talk about having a description for the music in your head, like a physical description and a color, and it may be based on the album cover, but I keep thinking of the snares being like this white chalk and it hitting against a surface, and like you can, like the little reverb that comes off some of the snares is like the ash coming off of the chalk.
Yeah, you know? Cool.
That's what it feels like, and it creates this nice space around the vocals and the beat, and it's like the beat is like kind of submerged in the ash from the chalk, but in a very nice way. It's not horrible smoky ash. It's like a nice kind of seasoning to it.
Yeah,
it's a nice atmosphere, and it goes with the white album cover, that kind of that dreary looking kind of cover. And some of the songs on here, they have that this kind of, I know it dropped in July, but it has this kind of wintry feel to it, or you know, a bit rainy outside, a bit melancholy.
Yeah, there's elements, there's late night elements to it. There's a lot that has gone into the overall production of this. Honestly, I listened to this again today and I was like, I know why I love this album. And the thing is, it's really funny that you have said what you've said about the two MCs, because I don't really connect with what they're saying that often.
No, I don't either. No, I
it's just the music. It really is the music for me that really does it. So 100%. It's interesting that you as an MC are, you know, are sort of in the same boat as me.
Yeah, no, because I didn't. There's some rappers who are like that, who, if these guys were on some, well, actually, I don't know. I was going to say, if they were on some very prototypical hip hop beats from like that sounded very like Joey Badass type beats, or like just 90s, or like even 90s beats that were kind of adapted to the modern soundscape. So that they didn't sound like 90s beats, kind of like Joey Badass and people like that. I wonder if they might have shined through a bit more, and maybe just the production on here, just the vibe, just overtook it for me. Or if I might have listened and been like, okay, it's cool, but then maybe never gone back to it, because I would have been like, I've heard Joey Badass over beats like this, I've heard Nas over beats like this, and I'd rather hear that, you know. It's kind of like with People Under the Stairs for me. Like some of the music was cool and everything, but fully captured me as MCs. You know, I felt like I could hear other MCs over that sort of stuff already. Do you know what I mean? It was like they weren't pushing out of that barrier of just being good MCs, and that was it. I kind of feel that with these guys, but the production and the soundscape and the atmosphere is what really pulled me in.
Yeah, it's second to none. It's one of the. It's genuinely a special album from a production point of view, I think.
100%. I mean, this is a duo, right? So it's two MCs. It's not like a producer. And I mean, this sounds like it's produced by one person. I don't know if it is or not, but it sounds like it. I don't know if you know any of the background.
Do you know what? I actually don't know anything about these guys.
I didn't either. I forgot to kind of check. I mean, they didn't really make that impact on me. It's just I just liked the album.
Well, if I remember correctly, I think they're from the OC. So where is it? Orange County. It's California, right?
Yeah, it sounds right.
And I think that you can definitely tell the West Coast vibes, especially in some of these songs when we get through to them, which is, and it's an absolute joy to listen to. But yeah, like, oh, here we go. So they've been going since 1998 to 2007. So they are a duo of Matter of Fact. Oh, wait, the duo of Matter of Fact and EP, and they've been friends since childhood.
Okay. Like another people under the stairs type thing.
Yeah, man. So, and they've been going from 2008 until now. I mean, they've gone around the world: Germany, France, Belgium, Netherlands, Switzerland, England, Sweden, Spain, Australia.
Bruv, when it comes to hip hop, when you go to places like Europe and I think Australia.
Oh boy, it's huge, isn't it? Especially Netherlands, apparently. Not that I've ever been.
These guys, you go to Europe and I bet you there'll be people there, hip hop heads who are wearing the gear and everything.
Yep.
That, like, love the vibe there for that. They will probably come to you and be like, have you heard of these guys, Doppelgangaz? And you'll be like, I feel like I have. And they'll be like, bruv, check it out. And they'll play you. But they'll know them. They'll have vinyls of theirs.
Absolutely.
They'll know the songs. They'll be like, I'm going to see a show of theirs. And I've heard American artists say this, especially like more independent or underground ones. They say they love, or even like some big ones. Like I've heard Eminem say this. They love performing in Europe because they feel like they don't get taken for granted. And there's just such an actual really big, beautiful hip hop culture across
Definitely.
Europe. And I can definitely see, I can 100% see that. And it just feels like the crowds are so much more grateful for them and actually really, really take in a lot of the music and support as well. And so that completely makes sense to me. That's like a group like the Doppelgangaz would be touring all those places,
Yeah, I know our friends Clear Soul Forces, they've done like shows and that around like Europe, and they apparently, I remember seeing their tweets anyway, they were like, we absolutely love it. They absolutely love Europe. I think what it is that it's geographical location, right? So in America, it's kind of like say if I don't know, who's a really big sort of British artist that we sort of take for granted. I don't know. Let's just say Lamar, for example, right? So he's a world famous Lamar. He would probably get more of a pop over in the USA just because of geographical location, right? Like he's not from, here, like anywhere near here. And so, there's a bit more of a clamour for them, like, but here in the UK, we might sort of take him for granted, like, oh, it's Lamar, we've known about him for ages kind of thing,
I see him down Waitrose.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's I think geographical location has something to do with it, but also, I don't know, because we're so far removed as well from, American, sort of like the nitty gritty of American culture. Like we're more sort of hungry for storytellers, I guess. Maybe that's what it is. Who knows, man? Just spitballing.
I reckon so. And I reckon it's cultural differences in like cultural thinking and stuff, in the way that we think through things, we conduct ourselves and our attitudes. Because I mean, in Britain, it's going to be different to other parts of Europe as well. So it's like I'm not expecting it to carry over so much because, like you said, when you said the Netherlands, I was like, yeah, of course. When I watch like producer videos on YouTube or people with like big, beautiful like hip hop vinyl collections, a lot of these guys are in Germany and Poland and places like that, and the Netherlands, and it's just. Yeah, it's like even now I'm thinking about the Netherlands. I'm thinking, bruv, I would just love to. I feel like I want to just be there right now. Like I want to just teleport there right now, and just kind of go and wear my MF Doom jumper and just kind of. I'll just feel I'll be accepted. Like I'll just be able to go vinyl shopping there, and I'll completely just fit in.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be great, but. Yeah, I can see that. Funnily enough, that discussion made me want to go back and listen to this again. I listened to this like 2 or 3 times. But yeah, so let's jump in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Dopp Hopp, first song, definitely sets a scene for the whole album.
Yeah.
Cool intro track. And I like the kind of slight distortion that they have on their voices, which I didn't notice until I listened again. And the kind of really fast hi-hats and things like that. kind of wasn't expecting that. But then from that point, I was like, okay, I kind of get what we're going to get into. Rapamycin, is that how you say
it? Yeah, rapamycin.
Rapamycin. I like the guitar in the beat. Again, I like the
you
vocal
caught
processing.
it, didn't you? Of
Yeah,
course
I
you
really
caught
like
it.
it.
Yeah, that little bit of Spanish guitar, boy. I was like,
Spanish guitar. That's it. Yeah,
yeah,
sounds so good, so good. But it's weird. There's like these elements of these nice instruments or nice instrumentation, but it's still dark vibes or dark, rainy vibes.
It's rainy vibes. Yeah, definitely right there,
not
man.
dark, not dark as in like low, like bad energy or like Earl Sweatshirt type, like depressive type stuff. It's rainy vibes, melancholy vibes. But Boston Beard is when it really picked up.
Oh my goodness, right? West Coast flavor.
Oof, that beat, man. Like, just, you know, when a beat is just in the pocket and like the kick is, I don't know if they've like side checked, they just work in tandem with each other and everything's so clear and cuts through. The mix is so good for like boom bap type beats, but also, you know, and other types of beats too. But when there's these types of beats with that hard kick, but it's not too hard, it's like it's like a perfect marriage between the kick and the bass, and then, you know, choosing the right snare and stuff. Yeah, this beat was just basically perfect and just exactly what I imagined from a group like this. I don't know why. When I heard Doppelgangaz, saw the album cover, I was surprised by the first couple of tracks, by the production on there. But then I heard this one, I was like, okay, this is kind of what, for some reason, I expected this to be like. So yeah, I love Boston Beard. Again, the problem is, as we go through these songs, I'm not going to be able to tell you what any of them are about, really.
I can only tell you about one.
Okay. Which one is it? Or do you want to wait till we get to
We'll wait till we get there.
Okay.
Because it's really obvious, but I just think that the absolute tune of it is just... we'll get there. It's like genuinely my favourite track they've ever done. I think I've listened to most things that they've released, and I think it's my favourite.
Have you heard? Well, how many albums? They have quite a few albums, right?
Yeah, I've heard. I think 4 projects, and they released one this year that I've only listened to once, but I never went back to it. Oh,
maybe that's why I've heard of them.
Jeez. G-Pack Volume 3.
Okay, interesting. I really like, I don't know why, I like looking at their discography as well. I just feel like I can dive in and get some good
Yeah. And they've also done like another album called Beats for Brothels.
Yeah, that's the ones I saw, and that's the one that I keep thinking, okay, I want to check that out, even just for the name alone.
No. No. Yeah, it's they are funny, the pair of them.
Rollflea, nice vibes. I really like the sonic kind of, again, it's the how the beat sounds sonically. It's just something about them. Can't even pinpoint how they make them sound like that.
I mean, it is West Coast as fuck.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, even within that dark, chalky ash vibe that I described earlier, it's like everything exists within that, but they go dark, they go West Coast, they go sunshine, but all under this umbrella of still a bit melancholy, still a bit rainy, but we can still give you some good vibes in there somehow. Because there's like some songs on here which sound like they should be summery songs, but they'll have like weird instrumentation in there, which still keeps it a bit hip hop. Like, it's not just a full on Ain't No Fun by like Snoop Dogg or anything like that. It's not like a full on West Coast kind of riding in the car with the top down type thing. It's West Coast. It's just about summery. If there's like a little grey cloud coming your way a little bit, you know, like, will it rain? Will it not rain? It's kind of like that. What does EWW stand for again? You said it earlier.
Every Which Way.
Every Which Way. Yeah, I like that is fully all these words I've been using: rainy, melancholy, reflective. That's summed up in this song.
That is absolutely correct. Yeah,
100%,
it is pure rain, and it's not like it's not like the kind of horrible rain that we get here in the UK, the cold rain. It's like that warm kind of sunshiny. Do you know what I mean? Like it's the rain you get in like the tropics or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. I was thinking the word tropics or tropical, but I didn't know if that was the right word. It's when something happens. Again, I don't know the science behind it. I don't know exactly how to describe it. Something happens when you go from really sunny weather, really nice, bright, hot weather, but then you get some rain coming. It changes the colors of everything as well.
Yeah,
it brings out this almost watercolor oil painting look in things. I've experienced that before. The trees, the color on the trees, contrast between I think the grey sky and the sunlight or something like that. It's causing the colors to reflect differently to your eyes, and it makes things look a different way. And I've always really loved it, but I can never pinpoint when exactly it happens. I remember one time driving back from uni with my partner and another friend of mine to go to my house. My birthday was the next day. We'd been having really good weather, and then we were driving on the motorway, and it would rain, but it wasn't like really bad heavy rain. It was a really nice rain. And usually, people complain about driving on the motorway in the rain.
Yeah.
But this was rain, but while it was still a bit bright, and everything looked I really can't describe it. It looked like we were in a painting. You could see the light reflecting off the water on the roads and stuff. And I don't know if it's because I'd studied that kind of thing at uni. I did like art and philosophy.
Wondering if I've experienced something similar, actually.
Yeah, I feel like you have, because you're describing that when you talk about the tropical rain. But maybe just next time that happens, notice like the color palette of everything around you, right? It's something that's again, I only really noticed this after doing my course at uni.
Sure.
I want to go back and look at some of that material to kind of remind myself of what it actually was, because they would talk about things like why certain paintings resonate with us, why certain combinations of colors resonate with you, and things like that. Why looking up at the sky during a certain time and seeing the color palette change from this to this, and then seeing the earth beneath it like go from blue to sudden green with like fields and stuff, gives you a sense of peace and things like that. You suddenly started seeing the world as being created with this huge color palette. And I couldn't not think that way after doing that course at uni. And when I was driving back home that one time, this was like that in overdrive, because it was raining, but it was still bright. And so there was light reflecting off the water, and, the trees had this damp kind of autumn look, but it was, I don't know, I can't describe it. But next time you get that tropical weather, that tropical rainy thing is perfect way of putting it. Because there's good rain, there's bad rain.
Yeah. There's good rain, and then there's just UK rain that we're used to.
The UK grey, gloomy rain is just.
It's that cold rain, that rain that like just it destroys your sense of self-worth.
Yeah, that's
just to be a bit melodramatic. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of rain where you realise that life might not be all it's cracked up to be. Oh no, you know what? I'm kidding, everybody.
Yeah,
kind of. I'm only telling the truth.
But then there's some rain where I'm just like, I'm going to open all the windows and just listen to it, and kind of, it's actually I feel really relaxed.
You goddamn hippie.
Yeah. I have a cousin like that who's when it's thunder and raining, she really, really enjoys it, and she just feels really relaxed by it. And I fully get that. Like, there's something about it when it's been really, really hot for a long time, there's something I almost like yearn for, like this kind of just some rain to just come. I don't know why, because then there's something completely different. It's like almost a reason to just slow down and relax. Just stay in your house, just relax. And there's just water coming down outside, and it's just It's not grey, but it's not too bright either. It's just chill. It's just calm. There's no extreme. There's no deep depression because of the greyness and the darkness.
Yeah, that's
there's no bright lights where it's like you have to be out doing stuff and you have to be doing things and you shouldn't be inside your house. It's just this perfect kind of, just take a second, sit back, just relax, take that time.
Yeah.
And I think as human beings, we kind of need that, especially now, the kind of lifestyle we all live. We almost need to be forced to take a moment to just slow down and just chill out. Completely fine to chill out. It's not laziness. It's okay. Just take a second and breathe. Breathe properly as well. Olympics. True that.
Yeah, take Olympics. Some time for yourself.
Mate. You've got to take time for yourself. People don't do that.
Absolutely right.
People just don't do that. Don't give your life back. Easier said than done, but you are not your work. Unless you want to be. But yeah.
If you want to be, then what the fuck is wrong with you?
Depends as well. If I don't know.
Anyway, sorry. No, we're you know what, man? We're down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I was trying not to go off into a tangent.
I know.
I'm gonna hold back.
Okay, cool. So we're on Olympics. I've literally got 2 words to describe this song.
Go on then.
It's aight.
It's aight, yeah. I said good beat, good hip hop. Cool.
We move.
Strong Ankle is cool. Has a nice hook as well. My partner was singing that. She wasn't even properly listening to it. She was just singing the tune. So I was like, okay, that's cool.
So this is genuinely the only one that I sort of know anything about, like the lyrics.
I knew it was going to be this one. I don't know how.
Do you know why though? It's because, does the music of this tune in particular remind you of any other hip hop artist or artists or artists? Like when you listen to it,
artisans.
Does it remind you of anyone?
Not off the top of my head.
So for me, this just stank of Outkast vibes. It really just
perfect. Yeah,
it was just, I don't know, like every time I hear it, I'm like, this is such like a hope. Maybe it was unintentional, or if it's an intentional homage to Outkast, then it's genius, because it really, I don't know, it just has this feeling of it, and I just like the kind of tongue-in-cheek nature of the song.
Yeah,
I mean, I like the hook as well. Like it's one of my favorites. Like it for me, it's the music really that absolutely wins the day on this one. But I love this song. Like, I
that
absolutely
makes so much
love
sense. Actually, the Outkast thing. I didn't think about that. Yeah,
it really reminds me of like is it Atlians? Is that the one with There's a song called Spotty Otti Doppelicious.
That's on Aquemini.
Ah, okay. Because I always get my Outkast albums mixed up, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that sort of feel, it kind of big sort of musical production, sort of cheeky lyrics, like kind of, tongue in cheek kind of nature. It's playful. It's very, it's a very, very fun song, and that's something that I really appreciate about this one in particular. Yeah, I'll go big on this one. Love it.
100%. I actually go bigger on the next one for If It Wasn't for the Cloak.
Oh, it's a banger, innit?
That's another favorite of mine. And the drum programming, and then there's some weird like jazzy samples in here, but it doesn't fully commit to being like a jazz beat or jazzy hip hop beat. There's little elements of it in there, and you're just like, huh, weird. But I wouldn't call this a jazzy hip hop beat. I wouldn't put it up with I wouldn't say, oh, what's a list of hip hop / jazz hybrid beats like The World Is Yours. I wouldn't put this in there because it feels like it doesn't commit to it. You know what I mean? It just throws it in there. It's weird. It's weird, but yeah, the drum programming on this, it's similar to, what's the other one? Boston Beard?
Yeah,
Boston Beard. Yeah, that the kind of mix and everything. Yeah, that's right up my alley. That kind of song. I've Been, cool song. Again, embodying that melancholy, reflective kind of vibe. Nice saxophone, nice weird vocal sample that just comes in for like a split second.
It's almost haunting that, like, it's really.
Yeah.
This is a moody tune, I think.
Very moody, yeah.
But I think it's so emotive as well. Like, it's like the piano in this song in particular, and with the sample when she says "I've been," and the way that they like have it in like sometimes every other bar or every 4 bars. It's like
I was trying to count it.
Yeah.
It's.
But, I think it's an ingenious song as well. Like, you're not like with albums, it's very, very hard to put a run of consistently excellent songs in one go. But I mean, these 3, Strong Ankles, If It Wasn't for the Cloak, I've Been, and I'd also put Beak Wet as well. Like, I quite like that one as well. I think that's 4 very strong songs, and they're so different, but yet they still have the umbrella of the whole album of that kind of feel of rainy California kind of nighttime, you know?
What track is Beak Wet?
Beak Wet is After I've Been.
I've not written any notes for it. I recognized the name when you said it. I was like scrolling up and down my notes, like, wait, where is it? Okay. It's weird because I recognize seeing it on the track list, but I haven't written anything for it. Okay,
that's all right. It's not the greatest tune, but I do think that it's very. I think it's really cool, actually.
On really that I've been song. If we're talking about the hauntingness and the way that vocal sample comes in, I don't know if you've heard of a producer called La Orange.
I've heard, I have. I've heard.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard any songs by him though.
You might have heard some songs by him, especially because I think he's part of Mellow Music Group.
Then I have. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think if you've listened to their group albums, their label albums, he's on there on some songs and does some production on some of them, and you can usually tell when he's done the production. There's a very particular sound that he has, and I think it's the samples he uses from like the 40s or 50s. They have this very old sound to them, but he brings them up with these kind of hip hop drums and whatever, and the way he puts them in is similar to this. It's like haunting kind of. His music works very well during wintertime for me, especially.
Sure.
I go on a train journey in the winter when it's a bit grey outside and a bit rainy. Just, I'm not listening. I'll be listening to some La Orange type stuff. It will hit so well that I should wonder if I should give what album would I give you though to listen to if I did give you that. And I don't know if an album by his. I might just send you a tune of his and
yeah, man, cool.
Probably may have heard it, but yeah, he's someone to check out if you like the way that they did the sampling on I've Been. Definitely, listen to La Orange or just some of the songs he's produced. Not necessarily recently. He has put out an album recently with this artist I've never heard of before. That was a good album, but if you want to hear what I'm talking about, that particular sound, I'll either give you an album or I'll send you like some songs. Mellow Music Group's album, they had this album called Mandala Volume 1 or something like that, and it has this like it's silver cover and it's got it's like this circle pattern. The first song on there is called Invisible Walls by Odyssey.
Oh, I haven't. Have I listened? Hang on, I've got Bushido, and I've got the one Bushido, where they're all the white cover where it's all on the side and
I can't remember what that's called. I think, or maybe that's the name of the album. Even
I think it's even called Mellow Music Group, isn't it?
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
it's genuinely got this. My introduction into Apollo Brown. That one, I was like, my favorite tune.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Is that the song with Red Pill?
Rapper Big Pooh. No Future. It's called. Genuinely. I mean, it's just basically if you ever want to like win my musical heart, it's either piano music or it's or violins. That's how you get me, because
Apollo Brown's a strings guy, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful.
So good, man. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Anyway,
but yeah, that Mandala. I don't even know how to say it. Mandala. Yeah, there's a song. There's basically this compilation album that they have, Mellow Music Group, and the first song is called "Invisible Walls" by Odyssey. And that's the song that got me into Odyssey in the first place.
Cool.
And there's a song on there, and I think it usually says featuring La Orange if it's produced by him, because they want to showcase their artists, and he's signed to the label as an artist. He's not a rapper or anything, so it will still say featuring La Orange. It means that the beat is produced by him. There's a very particular sound he has.
All right, cool.
Which, really
is it called? Yeah. Sorry, it's Invisible Walls, right?
Invisible Walls is the first song on the album.
Yeah, cool. I've got it. And Persona is the first time I heard of him.
I knew it. Yeah, I knew it.
That's the first time I heard of him.
Yeah, Persona.
And that's when I became an Apollo Brown absolute super fan.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I think he's the best thing ever. Hasn't done it. Genuinely hasn't produced a song that I dislike. I don't know how he's done it, considering how many people he's worked with. It's unbelievable.
I was going to ask if you heard the Raheem Devon album that they've done together this year.
No, I have not.
I listened to it again today. I listened to it a couple of weeks ago. Really like it. Listen to it again today. Still really like it. It's so good, man. You should definitely listen to it, because this is like a singer and Apollo Brown working together, and they embody the kind of old school R&B sound, but it's brought up to date in a newer production way. Not newer as in the newer mainstream hip hop, but just chopping samples and making beats. So imagine Apollo Brown working with people like Marvin Gaye and stuff back in the day. Him producing for them, that's like him and Raheem Devon together. They do some covers, but like he's making the beat. He's like chopping the sample and remaking the beat and stuff. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I think it's called Lovesick. Yeah, it's really good. Beat Quet. No notes for that, so yeah.
Excellent podcasting 101 there.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I can't believe I just didn't do that, but okay.
Holy moly. Here we go, folks. If I start putting out an advert for co-hosts, you know why. See what I have to put up with.
Their name would have to start with K, innit?
It's easy. Like, even if their name is, I don't know, even if their name is Harry, we just call him Carrie, man. It's fine. Easy.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be like the Catherine and David podcast.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's the only name I could think of with the K. Yeah, I don't think of any others right now.
Kareem Khalid.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
I'm slipping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bubbling. Number 11, Bubbling.
Nice beat. Song's okay.
That's it's literally what I put.
Yeah. Rolling had an interesting beat. Again, it's not a favorite. This kind of section, again, this album could have cut down a little bit, I think.
How many songs is on it? It's 15 songs, isn't it?
About 15, yeah.
Yeah, I think
bad, but...
I think 3 could have gone. I think Bubbling and Rolling could have gone, and I think maybe Olympics as well. Maybe, and then otherwise you'd have a rock solid album.
I think so too. I think this would have benefited from being. It's not too bad though. It's not too much of an offense, but it would have been strong as a 12, 11 song album.
Definitely.
Future 86 picks right back up. Another sick hip hop beat. It just hits that pocket. It's the right vibe and
it's amazing.
Pocket. It's just great, man. And that even the name is just sick, especially considering I'm not taking in any of the concepts from these songs.
Ah, right. So this is another one where I, upon this listen, fully tuned into what they were talking about.
Right, okay.
And it's kind of glorifying the old school way of going through music and how you sort of absorb it. It was all about them, having cassettes and vinyl and things like that. They're sort of reliving the old school way of taking in the music, basically. That's what I got.
Yeah, this rings a bell. I don't know if I'm thinking about that because I was recognizing it in that song. But I was on YouTube last night as well, and I was watching this video about why physical media is still important and things like that. I just happened to come across it, and then I started watching vinyl videos. I just like looking at people's collections.
Oh man,
don't know what I want to do with that, but I imagine I have it. I don't know. I just love collecting shit, man. Don't know why.
My mum has recently gone up into her loft in her house.
Shit.
And basically, there is a vinyl collection with my name on it. Like, stuff that we listened to when I was a kid. That I can remember these songs, but I have got no frame of reference who they belong to, who performed them, or whatever. But I cannot wait. Like, I've got we've got an old school vinyl player, record player at home. I'm taking that, and I'm just going to be on the ones and twos. Like, I'm going to be playing that, and it's going to be worth a fair few bob as well, because we've got like I know for a fact we've got vinyl of Bad. There's a vinyl of UB40's Labour of Love. I think we got one of Luther Vandross. We've got Do the Bartman, the single. Like, so there'll be like a few.
90s.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I think we got that in early '91 or maybe 1990. I think that's when they did the Bartman song.
Do the Bartman. That was didn't MJ help write that song?
I don't know.
I think he did Lisa, It's Your Birthday.
He did Lisa, It's Your Birthday. Yeah, that's a great tune.
Yeah, that is a great tune. Yeah, but he also did a couple other songs for The Simpsons too. So I think he actually did help write Do the Bartman. So I'm not surprised.
MJ, you ledge.
What a guy. But
I mean, anyway, not another MJ rabbit hole that we go down inevitably every single week. Every week we do it.
Every year, every time. Pride's Cloak. Now, funny how earlier I was talking about like the snares and the nice kind of sonics from the beat. The rest of this song is great. Unfortunately, I cannot stand that clap that they use. It sounds so overused and so a bit dated that I just feel like, why is that in there? Why did you use that sound? It's almost like I'm kind of thinking about the producer and thinking, that sound, really? You could have used anything else, but you used that? Like, that's the kind of clap that was used in the like early 2000s on fucking everything. And it clearly says this song is from that era. Do you know what I mean? At least for me. And probably doesn't help that because I make music as well, I've come across like drum packs which have some of these sounds in them. And so when I hear songs with those sounds in them, I just think, oh, it's like a peek into the background that I didn't want, because it loses the allure now. It's like if you, I don't know, sometimes you want to just see the art for what it is. I'm always interested in behind the scenes, but sometimes I don't want someone to, as soon as I watch a movie, I don't want for the first time someone to start saying they made it like this, or they filmed it like this, they filmed it like that. I want to see that afterwards. You know what I mean?
However, the thing is, and I found this especially with the medium of movies, is that you can now tell what kind of movie is being made just by the sheer visuals. Because you can see the artistry of the background stuff so directly in your face now. Take the Marvel movies, for example. They're all shiny and glossy. It's all green screen, isn't it? Yeah, and you can tell that. And so I find that my enjoyment of movies is sort of being taken away in the sense that I can see the process. What I'm looking at right now, I know the background is not real.
Sure, yeah. You can almost tell now.
Yeah, and I can't remember, there was a film, I was watching it with Bruce Willis, and he's old and he's an old assassin, Red. There's a bit where with him and his on-screen girlfriend, and they are on a hill.
Yeah.
And they're talking. I think they've just rescued John Malkovich. And they're talking. And it's got green screen behind it. I'm like, you couldn't just go outside to a hill and actually film it? Like, I don't understand that. And it just takes me straight out of the film. So with that laboured example, I can totally see what you mean when you say that you don't want to you don't want to deconstruct the music while you're listening to it. Me as a musician, I deconstruct it all the time, because I'm like, I need to understand how you came up with that bass line. I need to research. I need to research it. I need to understand how you get there, and you know,
100%. I get that because I love watching behind the scenes stuff for music, but especially for movies and TV shows. But there's something about this, like I always wonder, like I wonder people who make movies when they watch movies, if they, because I get it, because when I listen to songs, I kind of know what goes into making the music and how they've probably done this thing and they've probably done that thing and all this sort of stuff. This, hearing like that clap sound is a bit too kind of, for some other people it might not mean anything, but for me it sounds way too amateur, because it's I'm so used to just hearing that sound in the drum packs and ignoring it. And so this idea that it takes away from the there's a little barrier of mystique sometimes that you need. It's like, oh, now I'm imagining someone just kind of doing what I did, downloading a drum pack and just using that sound because it's there.
But there you go. With especially in the advent of the internet age, in the sense that any old person can now start making beats. It used to be a very, very sort of, you know, a select few who honed their craft and all of that. You know, those
to steal
that
the equipment and
in some cases where, you know, some people must have had to do that, you know, and really,
I think they did in New York in the blackout.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of people did that.
So a lot of people had to suffer for an art form, but it was also, the fact is, you know, people weren't willing to learn that art form. Whereas now in the digital age, you're getting people, you know, take me, for example. A few years ago, I wouldn't have known how to do anything to do with like sound or videos or anything like that. Now I can do that stuff, and there's nothing special about me. So I think that in the advent of music becoming more accessible and also, you know, more, you know, practiced by more people, maybe we're getting what you would ignore, other people are picking up. And like, it's quite funny. I did not pick that up when I listened to it.
See, I just hate that clap sound.
Fair enough. For me, it's the when we did Pop Smoke's album and they had that like random 80s noise, like I'm hardwired to hear that because I've heard it in, you know,
often.
My gosh, like Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody. That's what that sound reminds me of. And I'm like, thou shalt not touch Whitney Houston, okay? Because that woman is gold to me. Like,
for sure,
she has a special place in my heart. But yeah, I totally. It's quite funny how you pick up on that, and it completely passed me by. I was like, nah, it's a song.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I have this problem when some people talk about some older songs, like maybe songs that I liked when I was younger from the 2000s, but it'll be like, I can't hear them now because when I hear them now, they sound so dated to me, because I'm not just taking it as a song anymore. I'm like, because I guess because I make music and I keep up with all that sort of stuff and how the sound has changed and progressed and how mixing has changed and all that stuff. Now, when I go hear that stuff,
you'll hear that it's made by other humans.
Yeah, it's like
it's lost that mystique.
And it's like, sounds so separate from each other, and they just, you know, I hate how big this synth is and stuff. But as I loved that shit when I was little, but now when I was younger, like a teenager, but now it's like, it sounds so uncomposed compared to the more minimalist style of, I don't know, some of the trap beats within hip hop now. When I listen back to some of the beats that I was in that early advent of that, there's just hi-hats everywhere and just big bass everywhere. And it was great as a teenager because you're like, bro, this sounds fucking amazing.
Sonic overload, yeah.
Yeah. But now it's like I go back and listen to that and I'm just like, oh, there's no clarity in anything. But other people are just like, what? Nah, this song's a classic. Do you not remember listening to this back in the day? This is amazing. I'm just like, I do remember listening to it back in the day. I hear it differently now, unfortunately. You know, I hear some of the R&B songs. I can hear the kick and the snare, the kick and the claps. I those are standard sounds now for producers. And I'm just like, ugh. Now it sounds a bit ugh.
But I think it depends on how you enjoy like music. Like a lot of music for me is very much it will remind me of periods of my life. That's how I've always looked at music as milestones, right? And I'm sure many people do the same. And I do hear, I absolutely hear what you're saying. Let's just think with an example on the podcast that sounded, oh my goodness, Big Pun, like way back when.
Oh yeah,
loved it. Like, Jill Scott as well. Loved it. Thought it was amazing. Then when we went back to it, it was like, oh, God, it's not that good anymore, you know? And you know, there comes a point where obviously, you know, things age and that, but your enjoyment of those tunes, like, hopefully shouldn't be, you know, taken away by your newfound perspective. Although sometimes it absolutely does. Like, I don't know, like Nelly's Country Grammar. Couldn't
100%.
listen to that again. I'll never listen to that again. Loved it back in the day.
In that era. Yeah, 100%. The thing is, for me, I can go back and listen to some of the 80s and 90s hip hop and R&B, and it sounds great to me still.
Yeah.
But the 2000s has this kind of particular thing. I don't know if it's because they were moving into something new and it was early stages. So when at the time it was like, oh, this sounds great, this sounds fresh. But then you see the new and improved kind of where it was going. So when you look back, you're like, ugh. Okay.
Do you know there was a lot of good music back then though? I can't.
Yeah.
Exhibit was excellent. Slum Village, The Roots, Nas was in his pomp. You obviously had DMX. Oh my goodness, Nappy Roots were a thing. I thought they were amazing. UGK, I still like them. Clips.
Clips. Yeah.
The Neptunes. Some of their stuff. The Neptunes was amazing. Like NERD. Incredible stuff. Although NERD's first album, In Search Of, has definitely aged. I still love it because it's so different, right? And I guess the benefits of hindsight is that we've got new stuff now. We can actually see the journey that it's taken. So we can say, oh well, it wasn't that good. But for what it was, Scarface's The Fix, I thought was actually quite. For me, it was a groundbreaking album because I'd never really heard anything like it.
I agree. Yeah.
Especially with songs like Guess Who's Back. It's one of my all-time favorite hip-hop songs. I think it's incredible. In my own mind, I've made a remix that you could do live, which would sound unbelievable. But anyway.
Scarface, what a guy.
Oh, he was excellent. He was really good. He had a great presence, a great voice, but it belonged to that era. Scarface now couldn't. For me, I don't think he would suit like a trap beat or something. Who knows? Who am I to say? But we've got the benefit of seeing the journey of those artists and those types of beats and seeing what they've morphed into. Because, you know, you need to understand early 2000s, it was the birthplace of the genius of Kanye West, for example. And see how he's had an influence on music. And then, you know, his influence gave birth to guys, you know, like Drake and stuff who have, well, Drake's production team, because he doesn't write his own stuff, does he? So, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's
I know what you mean.
It's good for what it is.
It's more like there's a period of time in the 2000s that I remember being obviously I grew up in some of that hip hop landscape, so therefore I thought it was good back then. But when I look back now, I see why people call it like the slump. And I think we're talking like 2006 onwards. And there was this slump happening within hip hop.
I don't remember a lot of albums actually that came out at that from 2006 to 2010. Like I was in a more of a metal phase at that point. Anyway, me and Chris were going to see like Korn and Skin Dread and whoever, like Head PE, and dude, like I was all about the live music in that point. So
hip hop was not the place to be unless you were like a young kid, and then you just grow out of some of that shit, some of the beats and stuff. Like if I see an album that I haven't heard and I see it's from those years, sometimes I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I want to actually even listen to that.
True.
Production, like listen to like Recovery by Eminem. Bruv, is that album dated as fuck? Like you can tell it's a product of its era.
I haven't listened to it in year. Do you know what? I haven't listened to it since probably that year. What year did that come out? Because I've got like a massive blank in my sort of like hip hop like
2010.
library.
2010.
Yeah, I don't remember listening to that actually.
That album is really dated, in my opinion. And it embodies that big kind of sound that hip hop had. It wasn't as refined. It was like it was trying to break into something new, and then it did over
Is that
time.
the stadium rock one, like with songs like
Not Afraid, Love the Way You Lie, and
what's the one where it's Can Anyone Help Me? Can anybody help me?
Oh, shit, what song is that? It's not Cinderella Man or Going Through Changes.
I'm all alone. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. It's going to drive me mad.
Can anybody help? Yeah.
What is that one? See, that one I thought was a well good tune, actually.
Wait. Can anybody? Fuck, I should know this. Talking to myself?
Is that the one? Eminem. Eminem.
Nem.
Yeah, maybe it is Talking to Myself.
Yeah.
Hang on, let's.
Mate, it is. It is. It's someone else singing that. Can anybody help me?
Yeah, it is that, isn't it? And it's got that cool little riff on it, so it's wicked.
But I after a while, if I go back and pick out songs from Recovery, I skip that. So because something like this is weird. Like when it went from Eminem Relapse the year before, all produced by Dre, that album musically still holds up for me. It doesn't sound like a product of his era because it just sounds like a Dr. Dre Eminem collaboration. It just is him in his own world doing his own thing. Recovery, it's like brash and loud and in your face and on the nose. Big like crashes and snares and beats, and it's like built for stadiums. But it's unfortunate. It was a bit too much a product of its time. And I don't think it aged very well.
No, it hasn't. Yeah. I've been listening to it.
Yeah, no. Just skim through. There's some good hip hop on there, like songs like On Fire and like bonus tracks like Riders, a song called Seduction. Some good tunes like that, Untitled.
I won't be going back.
No, it's not an album I go back to. I don't rate it that highly anymore. Over time, when it first came out, it was like, wow, this is insane because again, it was like Eminem, but on these kind of beats. So
yeah, that, it was new, right? It was new and innovative at the time, and that's the thing. I think by judging music, obviously you get old and your your tastes obviously change and stuff, but it's all about recognizing what it was like at the time.
Oh
like
yeah,
what was going on at the in the zeitgeist, as we always say. It's although it's difficult to do sometimes.
Yeah. No, I get it. I always try and give it that kind of context. I just separate out my feeling of I get that, but I still don't enjoy it. So do you know what I mean? Like I get it. Yeah, I get it. It was new. It was different. I'm just not with it. You don't expect me to be playing that shit. So
but you grow out of stuff as well.
Exactly. Is that too? Recovery was innovative for Eminem only. It wasn't innovative for the culture. It was only innovative within his discography because it was like one of the first times that he stepped out and accepted beats outside of his camp, so from other producers and stuff. And now that's something that has been normal now for him going forward. Kind of bit to his detriment sometimes. But that's an example. I'm trying to think of like other albums from that time or just big songs. I remember big songs from that time period and when I listen to them now, they sound so messy. They sound so weak compared to like the years after that, like 2013 and stuff. The clarity and kind of minimalist approach to those trap beats and some of those bangers, the production would be so fucking beautiful to listen to. I remember going to uni and it would be like fucking ear candy for me. Just listening to, I don't know if you know Ace Hood.
Yeah,
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 he
yeah,
had a song called Bugatti,
yeah,
and just
yeah.
it was so beautifully produced with those deep, low kind of bass sounds and 808s, and then when it did jump into the high, like the hi hats, and you got to the explosive part of the song, everything fit in the right place. Everyone's voices was so nicely mixed and in the right part, in the right pockets. A few years before that, you know, I'm glad Kendrick didn't make Good Kid, Mad City before 2012, because,
Agreed.
you know, the production. Although I think his team would have made the production beautiful regardless, but yeah, there was that era for music and hip hop. R&B, there was like, yeah, that late 2000s is some stuff I listen back to and I think, ugh. Like,
Some of it I can't do. Some of
no,
it,
yeah, some of it I'm
I'm
just not.
actually allergic to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
to
know what you
cheese,
mean.
boy. I hate that.
Yeah, but
Genuinely,
yeah,
I listen to it. It's not good. But anyway, yeah,
we're on the
bro, we're
final
on.
song.
Well, with Pride's Cloak as well, I do like Shame is the Pride's Cloak. I like that. And I also think
Yeah.
it's a callback to If It Wasn't For the Cloak. And I think that it's
Oh
very
yeah,
much like I think it's them sort of saying that, like, you know, if it wasn't for the cloak, so if it wasn't for my sort of like brashness and stuff, I wouldn't be
yeah,
regretting what I may or may not do. And then when it comes to
sure.
this song, they're saying that, well, hang on a minute. Shame is the pride's cloak, right? So it's very much like you commit an action, and you may have done it for self-interest, and shame is a result of that. So I think it's pretty. I think
Sure.
it's pretty cool. Little callback,
Mm,
anyway.
that is
Maybe
pretty
it's
cool.
true.
Yeah,
Maybe it's not. I could be just pulling something out my ass. But
I didn't pick up on that.
yeah, bro, this is why I do this.
Yeah, this album didn't strike me as that type. It just struck me as a good collection of hip hop songs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It's difficult. This album for me is one that you have to mine, and
Mm,
it's only through listen. It's only through listening to like Every Which Way, Strong Ankles, and If It Wasn't For the Cloak. Like I've had them on my hip hop playlist since I
sure,
listened to this album, so I know those songs pretty well now.
sure.
Um, but it's taken me years to get through the vibes, like
Right.
to
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
listen. So it is a very difficult, you know, for emotional sort of linguistic and artistic content.
Yeah.
Um, or sorry, vocal content. I don't think this is the album for you, but if you just want vibes and vocals that go along with those vibes and that
Yeah.
fit and flow along with the music, this album is, I mean, it's pretty stellar, to be honest.
100%.
But yeah, man,
100%.
track number 15,
Die
Die
for it.
For It.
Another nice beat. It's a good song to end the album on.
It's the most commercial one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cool. Like this last quarter wasn't as strong as the middle section of this album.
Agreed.
I think this could have ended on a better song. Or maybe, I don't know if it's the length. At this point, I was just, oh shit, we're on the last song. It didn't feel like it was the last song. It was good. So it's a good song to end it on. Could have been, I don't know. It could have been, I'm not really sure how they would have done it. But again, I was kind of started to treat this album as just a collection of, like, they made a bunch of songs vibed out, and then they just put them together. No real kind of, again, maybe like you said, if I mine deeper,
Yeah,
I
you
can
got
find.
to, because there's a lot of like there's a lot of winking, sort of like, you know, head nods and little cheeky little bits of like playfulness. There's like some depth in the lyrics as well. It's just one that,
Sure.
you know, it's an album that I think you kind of got to let it grow on you as well. Like if we say you come back to this album in 2 years,
Yeah, yeah,
very much like I have as well, listening to the whole project again, and you do pick up on like other things as well. I think that you know, by skipping over the lyricism, maybe we're not doing the album a great sort of service, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
also the vibe of the album is just so amazing. It's impossible to kind of get away
yeah,
from that.
yeah. It's what's the other album I said that about? Not Rage Against the Machine, because I knew there was something under there, but that's because I was fresh to that kind of music, and that's why I wasn't picking up on everything. But
or anything.
there's yeah, there's like but like this album, it's like it's almost like they weren't cutting through the production enough for me to get it all in just a week. You know, it was
Exactly. Yeah, this album
just the
is definitely
vibes.
a grower.
Yeah, I'll end up going back and picking out certain tunes and stuff like that, and then noticing, oh shit, this is about this, it's about that, and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, my rating, I would give this a 7 out of 10.
Nice.
So it's good, right on, nice, clean 7. I think there's more to get out of it as well. Just thought it
Definitely.
was some good, solid hip hop, and it made me want to check out more of their discography. So that's always extra points as well.
Yeah.
So 7, yeah. It's not like it hit me in the same way the albums did, but yeah, but just a good, solid album. Top 5, Boston Beard. This is funny. I actually put Olympics in my top 5.
Black. Yeah, go on. It's cool.
If it wasn't for the cloak. I also put Beak Wet in my top 5, so I must have liked that song.
All right.
I'm very confused by my listening experience.
This is what I have to put up with, ladies and gentlemen. If you are still here, like KaeDee doing random madness, man. I love it.
Yeah. Last night I did a little skim through.
Didn't have any notes on this song, forgot that it existed, but somehow it ended up in the top 5.
It was just good. It was just good. I didn't need to write anything down. I just remembered I liked it. But then I didn't think I did. But yeah. And then Future 86.
Yeah, good tune. It's a good tune. That's just vibes. And lyrically, it's really cool. Tells a nice story of remembering how things were.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I was going to say maybe it could have ended on that, but I don't know if it would have been a good ending song.
To be honest, maybe you could have put Pride's Cloak, Die For It, and then Future 86, maybe. But I don't know how that. I don't know how that sounds. You could definitely you could get rid of Bubbling. You can get rid of Olympics, in my opinion. And then you've got and Roland, yeah. It's just Roland's just flexing, and like you got to permit a rapper to flex.
Oh yeah,
or a pair of rappers to flex. So that's fine with me. I don't really mind.
Fair. But yeah, so that's that.
Oh my goodness. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed going back to this album, actually.
I
really like it.
More of their stuff. I really liked the discussing like the European culture attitude towards hip hop and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that always puts me in a particular vibe. I want to listen to certain things, but
yeah, man.
Okay, what am I giving you to listen to next week? I think I'll give you an album by someone who I can't remember how I found out about her or the album, but the album hit me quite. I remember listening to it, being like, "Raw, this is fucking sick." And I actually. When I went to go, I don't know if you know a guy called an artist called Coltrane from the UK.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, like a singer / rapper, and the E in his name is a 3 instead.
Yeah,
that's how he stylizes the name. He's really, really sick, and I went to go see him. No, it wasn't when I went to see him live. It was a guy called Duckworth. I went to see live. I saw them within like the same 2-week period.
Sure.
Yeah, I went to go see Duckworth. I can't remember where exactly. I feel like
Such
in Kentish
a good
Town.
name.
Yeah. He's got some really good stuff, like really interesting stuff, music. And she was the support act for him. I'd heard of her already at this point.
Okay.
And it's funny because when I was in the venue, I walked past her, and she was just like, she was on the ground level. I think a lot of people didn't know of her, but she walked past me, and I was like, why do I recognize that girl? And I was thinking, she looks like, and I was like, nah, it's probably not her. I'm probably just like thinking it's her, or thinking that she looks similar. And then it turns out when I realized who the support act was, I was like, that was her. And then I saw her on stage and she was wearing the same thing as the woman who walked past me.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, bruv. Like, I just literally walked past her. And I was like, this is an artist that I had, like, whose album I'd been listening to and, like, really, really been
shit.
Yeah. And she's like, I filmed it and everything and put it on my Insta story and I tagged her and she, like, replied to my Insta story and that. She's like one of those artists at that level where she was, like, actually looking at, like, the Insta stories and whatever. And
she's not gotten so big that
yeah.
she ignores it all now.
Yeah,
that's cool. I think those kind of level of artists are genuinely the more interesting ones to talk about, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. Anyway, go on.
No, for sure. And she's been putting out some singles last year and this year. So I'm hoping she's gearing up for another album release. But yeah, one of her songs recently was with a UK guy called Yizzy. Her name's Javier Mighty. I haven't mentioned her name yet. I think it's Javier Mighty. The album's called 13th Floor. And she's got a song recently with this UK MC, grime MC called Yizzy, who's sick. And it's one of those, what is it called? I cannot remember what it's called, but it's fucking sick. She's on this like drill beat.
Okay.
But she sounds so good over it. And
you love your drill.
Yeah, like when it's done well, she sounds so good over it. And it's one of those kind of, I don't feel safe as a black person when the police come around or in this country. And, you know, she's talking from the US, but he's talking from the UK. And it's a good perspectives coming in, but it's a hard song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
especially when they're talking about Section 60 these days anyway. That's what it's called, isn't it?
The way she's talking about stuff, it's like you could just bang it in the car or at the gym. But then when you really listen to the lyrics, it's like, you know, I've got the over the shoulder look, pat down. You know, them boys, they want me all ran down or something. You know, she's talking about the police. She's not talking about like a rival gang or just a kind of other MCs trying to get on my way. It's I've got that over the shoulder look, patted down. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, so like yeah, that's the album I want to give you.
Cool, man. 13th Floor sounds like a horror movie. Cool.
Yeah, well, with the 13th part.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Just like, oh, it's going to be good
wonder
fun.
If that's an Amendment 13th reference. Amendment 13, sorry. Is it called that? Yeah.
What's your top vote?
You know Amendment 13, or the 13th Amendment, something. It's like justification for slavery without overly stating that it's a justification for slavery.
Yeah. I've heard of it as the 13th Amendment.
Yeah. So, you know, if you're in prison or if you've committed a crime, then you can be subject to free labor, basically. As in, like, you know, you can go unpaid labor and stuff, effectively having slaves. And then it's no surprise then that minorities have higher incarceration rates.
Yeah. It's basically the US judicial system in a nutshell. It is based on slavery, but it's not just a black or Latino or a color thing. I think now it's more of a class thing. I think the slavery net has widened because they've realized, well, hang on a minute, people have cottoned on to the fact that, you know, marginalized people aren't enough. You know, the rest, the middle to lower classes are now at war. Like, you know what I mean? It's anyway. That is another discussion. Anyway, for another day. There's no point getting on our soapboxes just yet.
Not just yet. Nah.
For real. Well, man, I'm going to do my thing, and I'm going to wrap this bad boy up.
Nice.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, old and new listeners, for joining us on this very enjoyable podcast. I do recommend that you check this album out if you like hip hop, and even if you don't like hip hop, just listen to some cool vibes, man. Like get lost in some really good production and really good beats. And yeah, man, we are going to be back next week when I talk about what's the name? Mighty and the 13th Floor.
Javier Mighty. The album is called 13th Floor.
Yeah, man, I got most of it right, just not a name. But yeah, man, cool. We are going to wrap this one up. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And peace. We actually nailed that one again. Oh, yeah.